Good evening, my Cordoba trained wrestling family and followers. Welcome to another great evening we have today. We have a special one today. Really looking forward to this one. Super excited about this one. We have two-time national champion Yianni Diakomihalis in the house today. Cornell national champion. So, super excited to have him on. And we got one of his favorite songs playing right now. And we're waiting for him to come on. So, guys, make sure you have a lot of good questions. Make sure you have a lot of good things that you want to talk about. I really want to really pick his brain here because he's a good one, man. So, what's up, guys? What's up, Tone? What's up, Joey? What's up, Reed? What's up, Mac? What's going on, Keith? What's up, guys? Jimmy, what's up, Jimmy? What's up, Chief? Asbakite's in the house. Jimmy, we'll get him to follow. Don't worry about it. We'll get him. Don't worry about it. We'll get him in there. He'll be in here soon. What's up, Dom? What's up, guys? How's everybody doing tonight? This is going to be a good one, guys. What's up, Artie? It's going to be a really good one today. Yianni will be here shortly. Tomorrow night we have Sebastian Rivera will be in the house tomorrow. We're really excited about him too. And we have one more edition is going to be on Thursday, special guest. So tune in. I'm not going to tell you guys yet. Maybe I'll tell you at the end, but I'll let you guys know. What's up, Mike? What's up, Palmer? We got Will Dodd in the house. Will Dodd's my executive producer in our little interviews that we've been doing. I get a lot of good information from him. Thank you, Will Dodd, for that. Chief, what's going on? What's up, Bill? What's up, Joe Formoso? How you doing? How you guys doing, man? Super excited today, man. I got a lot of questions I want to ask him. Hope you guys have a lot of good questions. He should be on about 8:05. We got him coming in. So we'll just let everyone just keep coming on in. If you got any questions for me, you can ask me any questions. I'm not really, I guess you guys don't want to talk to me, but he'll be in here soon. Next week, guys, we have a good one, all right? Next week, so far, next week is a club coaches week, all right? So we're going to do club coaches and youth wrestling coaches. So far, we have Elite Wrestling is going to be in the house. We have Mike Krause, which is one of the best youth coaches in the country. He'll be in the house. We have Empire Wrestling Club in New York. That will be here. So we're super excited about them. We also have my buddy Kenny will be on here next week. He's a strength and conditioning coach. So he's going to be talking a lot about just strength and conditioning for wrestlers and all that stuff. So we'll get in there. Red Nose, yeah, we're making Red Nose. I'll talk to Mike Folker. That'll be a good one. We're going to go Monday through Friday next week. So far we have about 3 or 4 people that are definitely in. What's up, Jason? Yo, thanks again, man. We're going to talk about you a little bit today. All right, so make sure you tune in. Jason Bross in the house, guys. Anybody looking for any type of wrestling mats? Home wrestling mats? Your buddy right there, his name is Jason Bross. He works with Dolomer. He's got all the mats. He did the whole wrestling club of mine. So he'll be around looking to see if you guys want to get some wrestling mats for your house. Vinny, how nervous I am. I'm not nervous, bro. I'm not nervous. Now I'm a little, you know what? Listen, I get a little nervous during all my interviews. Want to make sure it's right for you guys. That's all. What's up, Joe? Donnie D. Yeah, I think Donnie D is in the house. Yeah, I think Donnie D is going to be one of them as well. Yeah, he's going to round out the mix. So it's going to be a good one, guys. Super excited tonight. Super excited about Sebastian Rivera. The reason why I'm really excited about Sebastian Rivera is because he's a Jersey guy. He's a Jersey guy, and he's everybody knows him here in Jersey. Even though he wrestles at Northwestern, He's super, super popular here in Jersey. He's Jersey all through and throughout. His dad owns Elite Wrestling Club. So, I mean, we're really just excited about interviewing him. Some rumors going on about him, you know, maybe coming to Rutgers, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure that out. What do you use for such great skin moisturizer? I don't use anything, bro. I actually shaved. That's probably why. I don't look like a bum. But we got Yianni's favorite song in the background. It's called Lonely Boy by the Black Keys. Never heard of it, but I've been jamming out for the past 5 minutes. It's pretty good, man. Guys, I want to thank you guys for the support. Listen, let me tell you right now. You miss all the chances that you don't take in life. Once I started doing these interviews, I was like, you know what, man? I'm just going to go and just ask everybody. I've been inboxing people through Twitter, through Instagram, through Facebook, and just being like, yo, you want to jump on? And people have been, yeah, man, I'd love to, man. They want to talk wrestling. You know, what else do we got to do? You know, it's 8 o'clock in quarantine, and we're here to talk wrestling. So we've been having a good time with it. It's going to be a good time next week as well. And I'm just really excited about, having these club coaches in there because it's going to be really cool. Yianni should be in here any second. I'm just waiting for him to jump on, and then we'll connect them. Anybody got any questions for me yet right now? Anything you want to ask? What's up, Hesba Kites? Jared, what's going on? Carson, what's up? These are all my boys on right now. They're in here. They want to talk to them. I need to grow the beard back. Oh, man. I don't know. Maybe. Yianni, I know you just signed on, so I want to play a little bit of your music real quick. I told you I put it on. Yianni just signed on. The club should be open back up. Whenever they get us ready to open back up, we'll open back up. Yianni, this is your song, bro. We got you on right now. He's ready. The Black Keys, Lonely Boy. Pretty good song, bro. I like it. All right, let's get you in, buddy. Here we go. Connected. Yo, what's up, my man?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing, buddy? How's everything?
Really good. I'm in Ithaca right now, so I'm doing good. Just trying to get whatever work I can in.
Oh, nice. So you're at school right now?
Yeah. So I was home for a little bit, and I just came back. Making sure I think that I'm gonna be able to work out here. Not really wrestle or anything, but just go back and kind of get on my own, get my house set up, and take care of stuff.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, let me just introduce you to everybody that's watching right now, guys. We have Yianni Diakomihalis, two-time national champ from Cornell, visiting us today, guys. I hope you guys have a lot of good questions. Yianni, thanks for coming on today. We loved having you in here, man.
Sorry.
I want to start off by first wishing you. Are you good? You good?
Yeah. Sorry there.
Yep, all right, no problem. All right, cool. I want to first start off by I want to wish you a happy 21st birthday, man. Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, everybody want to wish him happy birthday. His birthday was April 11th, right? Was your birthday?
Yep, the 11th, yeah.
21 years old, man. You're getting old, my friend.
I know. I'm starting to not be the young guy anymore.
Oh, my God. Listen, I remember watching you when you were really little, man. I first heard about you to a buddy of mine, Jason Bross, who's is a good family friend of you guys. And he said to me, you got to watch out for this guy, Yianni, his brother. And I've been watching you since you're about like in 8th or 7th grade, watching you wrestle. And now you're turning 21. And like you said, you're one of the older guys now. How's that feel, man?
It's good. I got 2 years left of college wrestling. So just trying to make the most of it. Everyone talks about how, college is the best time. It's when you're closest to your friends and when you can spend the most time with the people you care about. So just trying to take advantage of that.
That's awesome. So we're unfortunately in this in quarantine time right now. And I know some people, a lot of people are doing videos. They're at home working out. working out in their basement and doing things like that. When you were home, were you working out? I know you got a great wrestling facility at your house that Jason Bros built. I've
Yep.
seen many pictures of it. You have the probably one of the best workout partners in your family and your brother. Did you get a lot of workouts in when you're home?
Yeah, I wrestle almost every day. I was wrestling with my brother. Again, thanks for Jason Bross for the mats have been great. They held up for I think it's been almost 4 years now, maybe 3 years. So it's been there for a while. Yeah, the garage is where we wrestle at. And I've been wrestling with my brother. I started, now that I'm back going on runs and just doing, little lifts that I can, I have some dumbbells that I have access to and, just trying to make the best of it, stay in shape, keep getting stronger and keep challenging myself.
That's great, man. I mean, I got a lot of questions I want to ask you. I know there's a lot of people want to ask you some questions. So what we do during these interviews, we usually go about a half hour, 25 minutes of just talking to you. Then we give them a chance to talk, ask some questions. Then we move on and we talk a little bit more and then more questions at the end. So at a 9 o'clock mark, we usually go off. But if you want to stay on a little extra after, you just let me know, man, and we'll keep it rolling, bro. So, let's go back to high school. When did you start wrestling? What year? How old are you?
I was 5 or 6, but I didn't really start taking it really seriously until I was, 9 or 10. That was when we started traveling out of state, wrestling in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio.
Yeah.
I feel like that was when we started taking it really seriously.
So your dad obviously got you into wrestling. Is that how it went?
Yeah, so he started wrestling in middle school. He wrestled through college, through his high school career. And, he thought it was really important for me to wrestle. I think he got a lot out of it. I think he had a really good experience with it. So he wanted me to do it. And, he obviously wanted me to be successful with it.
So this is a question I asked a lot of like really high level wrestlers. I get mixed answers by most. Like, when you started off, were you good right off the bat, or was it something you developed over years?
I was never bad, but I was not a crazy youth superstar. I started hitting my stride, like fifth, by the time I was in, 5th or 6th grade, I'd gotten better. I was pretty good, but, it wasn't like it came naturally to me. I spent a lot of time, especially when I was younger, working on my skill, developing that technique. And I think, that's probably why, for my first couple of years, I wasn't amazing, was because we weren't focused on, being a good youth wrestler. So I didn't hit headlocks and cement mixers and kid dumps. We were focused on good skill. But, by the time I turned, 10, 11, 12 years old, I had gotten so much better because, years and years and years of these high level techniques had been engraved in. And that was when I started seeing success. So, I think I was good in youth wrestling, but it wasn't an instant thing.
Well, that was good insight because like at our club, we try to stick with the basics with the kids, make sure their basic wrestling is intact, and then as they get older, as their body matures, you can start adding on some higher level techniques. So that was good. That part of your development for your wrestling career, right?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. We spent our time doing our creative stuff, the scrambling, but especially the first 3 or 4 years of my wrestling, it was like single legs, high crotches, double legs. They're just the most basic stuff that we could address because if you don't have a good foundation, it's hard to develop other moves because you need that like in baseline skill.
Yeah, yeah. And so you went to your youth. You probably won a couple youth state titles. You go into high school. You wrestle at Hilton High School. You were a 4-time state champion. You ended your career at 243-3. It seemed like you kind of just blasted your way through your high school career, and then your brother came in and he won. Was it last year? He won his 5th state title.
Yeah, so he just won his 5th 2 months ago, and
so by one.
Yeah, he got me. It's a nice joke he likes to throw around the house.
Yeah, I wanted to say I had to say though.
Yeah, he got me there.
So so you had a really successful high school career. What would you think is like? What was the most important thing that you learned about yourself in high school, as from your freshman to your senior year?
I feel like a big thing, at least for my success, was there were a lot of times where we would work on stuff, throw it away, work on stuff, throw it away, and it was just this concept of being adaptable. We we changed our technique a lot. We edit things and add stuff in, throw stuff away. So I feel like if I was stubborn, if I wasn't willing to develop and advanced, then I wouldn't have been nearly as good as I was. So in hindsight, it's something I'm really glad that, was an important value with, my dad and I, was that, it was always nothing was ever kept how it was just because that was how the way things were. Everything was, up in the air to be changed.
Gotcha. Well, and here's a question I asked a lot of high level athletes. Did you play any other sports, or was just wrestle?
I played football when I was a little kid, and I stopped playing in 8th grade, but I never was like out of season for wrestling. It would just be like I would go to football practice and wrestle after.
Yeah.
It was kind of honestly just because my friends did it. My parents, like everyone understood that wrestling was my best sport, and I feel like we just kind of did it because my friends did it, and it was just something. It was something where you could stay in shape. You didn't have to kill yourself wrestling all the time, and I just kind of liked it.
So, I mean, you would agree on this that even though wrestling was your number one sport, you did other sports, like you said, because your friends did it. But during those other sports, you did a little wrestling during that time too, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I was wrestling 4 days a week, out of the season, when it was football season, I was still wrestling 4 days a week. I mean, nothing really changed. It was just, you'd wrestle after practice, you'd wrestle on the Sunday where there's no practice, or, you just find times to make it work.
Yeah. It's a good balance. I mean, I talk to a lot of my kids about playing other sports. I think they should play other sports when they're younger. There's a certain time that you hit, maybe 7th or 8th grade, when you kind of want to make that decision of you want to be the best in wrestling, and then you make that move. I always encourage my kids to play other sports, whether it's football or baseball. I know they're contact sports, like football, you get hurt a lot. So, I mean, would you, when you get into your coaching years, eventually later on in your life, and know what you went through, would you encourage kids to do other sports?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's their choice. I'm not going to tell them to go play football, but if they want to play football, when they're 10 years old, it's not going to kill them, you know what I mean? And it's something. I think not everyone can be locked in 12 months out of the year. I think some kids need, even if you're still wrestling, but it's just not as intense, you know what I mean? Especially when you're younger. What you were saying, middle school, high school, I think you got to start being serious. But when you're 8, 9, 10 years old, it shouldn't feel like it's your only priority. It shouldn't feel like your job. It should just be an option for you. You know what I mean? It should be what you enjoy to do, and then maybe you play, call it baseball. You play baseball on the side just because your friend from school plays it. You know what I mean?
I understand that. So you live in New York, and when you getting down to your college choices, after you won your 4 state championships, you were probably offered all over the country, probably to wrestle Big Tens everywhere, full scholarships. You chose to stay kind of close to home. I'm not sure how close you are to Cornell from your residence. How close are you?
So it's only a 2-hour car ride. So
Okay.
Talking about the choice with Cornell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of knew at a decently young age, maybe my freshman year of high school, that was where I wanted to be. I had pretty good grades in high school, and I wanted that option because you never know what could happen. I didn't want to be bound to wrestling in the sense that if I had gone to somewhere that maybe wasn't as good of a school but had equally as good of a wrestling program, and say I have some injury, I can't ever wrestle again. You're out of options. You're kind of stuck. You know what I mean? So I wanted to go somewhere where I knew I could be great, but I could have a fallback plan also. You know what I mean? It's ironic that Ivy League school is my fallback plan, but I just wanted to have that option in case something happened, or I just didn't want to wrestle when I didn't want to coach. I had that option to have a great career.
Yeah, that's actually very good answer to that. I mean, so you chose Cornell. You went right into your freshman year as a freshman, true freshman. You wrestled at 141 pounds. You had a 37-1 season, and you became national champ in your freshman year. Was that something that you thought as a high school senior, thinking that the next year you're going to be in college? Was that something you knew was attainable already in your mind?
Yeah, I was planning on that. I mean, so here's a funny story. So I remember, maybe this was my junior year of high school, but I want to say it was my senior year. Before I sent my application in, Coach Cole called me. I'll never forget, I was sitting in my high school library, like I had a study hall or something, and he's like, "Hey, I know initially they were gonna have me redshirt out initially," and he was like, "I know we said we were gonna have you do that, but you're going straight in." And I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Yeah, you can win, so you're gonna go straight in." And after that, that was the game plan. Was I wasn't training to All American. I wasn't training to make the tournament. The game plan was to show up and win.
Yeah, I like.
And, you know, I think it's important to hold yourself to that standard because, I mean, you have to be realistic, but at the same time, you should expect the greatest outcome for yourself because that's how you really reach your ceiling is you expect the highest standard. You really see how far you can get.
That's awesome. And that is that something that you've always felt like wrestling that always been your mindset?
Yeah, I mean, I remember being like 9 years old, 8 years old, and my dad showed me this guy from Azerbaijan, Asgarov. He was 18 in the world finals. This is before we knew about the guys lying about their age all the time. And he was like, "This guy's 18 and he's in the world finals." He's like, "You could do that when you're 18." And I was like, "You're right." And it wasn't an arrogant thing. It was just kind of, I always wanted to get the most out of it. And if I ended up being bad, at least I knew that was how good I could have been. I mean, I didn't want to hold myself to, maybe my goal was one-time state champ, and I would have never known how good I could have been. You know what I mean? So I think holding yourself to that really high expectation is what can, get the most results out of someone.
Yeah, I understand that. So I mean, obviously you were exposed to high level freestyle wrestling real young. For you, you're talking about you're 9 years old, talking about Olympians at that age. I mean, was freestyle something that you enjoyed right away, or did you?
So this
Yeah.
is funny. So I always watched freestyle. I always watched, world championships, Olympic games. But when I first started freestyle, so Fargo, my freshman year of high school, was like my second ever freestyle tournament. And I remember being like, this stuff's so stupid. I'm getting rolled on my back, but getting a takedown and I'm losing. Like, don't like it. But I understood, if my goal was to, you know, succeed internationally, I had to do this. You know what I mean? So I kept doing it. I stuck with it. I wrestled a lot of freestyle my freshman year of high school. Kind of competing in local tournaments here and there, and just wherever I could go. Just finding tournaments, and then by my sophomore year was when I made my first cadet world team, and I had a ton of big jumps in my training, and I honestly think a lot of that came from being freestyle oriented. It cleaned up my positioning a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of your credentials. I mean, you won two cadet world championships, so obviously, freestyle, is a big part of your wrestling, career. I mean, and talk about wrestling the world championships. I mean, was that something that you envisioned yourself doing that early?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was one of those things that it almost went unspoken. The goal was at some point to win a gold medal at the Olympic Games, and I understood, if you start young enough, anyone has the potential, because wrestling is one of those sports where you can create yourself. You can create an athlete. I mean, I wasn't a great athlete as a kid, but I developed my athleticism as I went. So I understood that, I could succeed, and it was something I really cared about and I wanted to. So, I at a young age I expected it for myself. It's not like I knew I was going to get to where I am now, but that I probably expected myself to be better than I am right now, if we're being honest.
That's awesome. I mean, you have a lot of confidence. You're a young kid. You have, a boatload of confidence, and that obviously seems to be what will get you to the next level. Like it helps you with your jumps every year. So your freshman year, again, I'd say you're 37-1. You become a national champ as a true freshman. The only other person I think was Kyle Dake was a freshman national champ for Cornell. Obviously, went on to win 4 national titles. Um, so you go into your sophomore year as the defending national champ, um, and you finish your season undefeated at 29-0, and you ended up beating a kid who I used to train when he was a kid out of his basement. Joey McKenna is a Jersey guy. He's a Jersey guy. So I'd be lying if I said I wasn't cheering for McKenna. I was. You're one of my favorite guys to wrestle in the country. Believe me, I love watching you wrestle. But you know what? Coaching Joey when he was younger, before he went to Blair Academy, you guys are in the finals, and I was cheering for him. But you had a great match. You won 6-4 over him, and was it overtime?
Yeah,
Overtime? Yeah,
overtime.
overtime. Yeah, it was crazy, crazy scrambles and stuff like that. So talk about coming back and defending your national title your sophomore year.
Yeah, I mean, I was coming off injury and it was tough.
Yeah, so
I had to
torn
deal with
ACL.
some stuff. Yeah, I torn ACL from my freshman year at NCAAs, and I didn't really get to have a great preseason, so I had to kind of change my body, improve my conditioning as the season went on. So, I had some iffy matches here and there, but thankfully I was able to get it done at NCAAs. I can't really say that I was happy, with how I was wrestling, honestly, at any point in the year, but I got it done and just kind of had to tough out a bunch of matches, so I made it work.
So you said kind of iffy. I mean, maybe there were some matches that you won by decision where you didn't feel your best, but you're 66-1 right now in college. To have that type of record in college and being on your A game every day at the D1 level is, and you being with the injury problem. I mean, that's a great year, for anybody. I mean, great career thus far. So you win your second NCAA title. You're a two-time national champ. That year, you end up becoming a U.S. Open champion. So now we're going to your freestyle season. Is it something you love doing? Wait, do you like freestyle or scholastic right now?
Freestyle the whole way through.
All right.
Freestyle for sure.
I was gonna say, but I didn't want to put it in your mouth. I was gonna say, I feel like you like freestyle more. So
yeah, big advocate for freestyle.
You get your sophomore year done, and you're like, all right, let's get into freestyle mode. You go into the U.S. Open in 2019, and you have a crazy weight class. I mean, you have Frank Molinaro, Zane Rutherford, Jordan Oliver, really, really, really tough weight class, and you win the U.S. Open. Again, thinking about all those guys, they're older than you, they have those credentials. But the mindset that you say you always have, setting the bar up high. Did you expect that of yourself?
Yeah, this is actually funny. So I had a phone call with my dad maybe a week before the Open. So my dad was kind of the one who was always telling me, the high standard, high standard, high standard. And I remember he called me and was like, hey, like, how you feeling about this weekend? I'm like, yeah, really good. And he's like, you still got time before World Trials. So, because like what I was saying, my NCAA tournament was not so impressive that you thought I was going to turn around and win the U.S. Open. So he was like, we'll see what happens this weekend, wrestle hard. And I'm like, you're setting me up to lose? I'm not losing at the Open. And it was like,
your dad you're talking to.
Yeah. We kind of like joked about it for a second. And he's like, you think you're going to win? I'm like, 100%. And I don't know, that probably sounds a little bit arrogant, but
not at all.
I believed in myself, you know what I mean? And I think, not a lot of people really thought I was going to win, and I don't blame them. I didn't show anything that would make you think I was going to be able to beat those guys, but those 5 weeks where I wasn't cutting weight, I was healthy, I was focusing on just freestyle, focusing on my training, and it made a huge difference for me, so I believed in myself, and I thought I could get it done, and I ended up getting it done.
Yeah, what a tournament for you, man. I mean, that was awesome, and you wrestled your butt off, and you won a very, very deep weight class against some very, very good opponents. I mean, older than you, more, have a lot of experience, and that was obviously a great year for you. Before we get into you wrestling at Final X, why don't we take a couple questions real quick, and then we'll get back into some more. All right. Anybody got any questions? There's some crazy stuff going on there. I don't know if you've been reading.
Yeah. By the way, I see the Long Beach guys, and they're talking about that year they beat us in the state duels.
Yeah.
I'm still upset about that. We blew it so bad. We blew it so bad.
When Long Beach beat Hilton, is that what they're talking about?
Yeah, my junior year of high school, we wrestled Long Beach in the state finals. And maybe it was my sophomore year, but I'm pretty sure it was my junior year. And we blew it terribly. Oh, my God. We had so many matches that we could have won, and we should have got more bonus points, and we just kept messing up. And I remember on the bus ride home just being like, how did we lose that? We had such a good team. I think we had 3 state champs who pinned their way through the tournament almost.
Man, they're letting you have it because they keep asking that question, man.
They're all over me. I know. I can't believe that one.
All right, guys, listen, we're gonna ask. I'm gonna try to find good questions, and he's gonna answer them real quick so we can get back to interview. How much Greco do you do? They ask.
When I first started wrestling, I worked on some Greco stuff. I think it's good for your hand fighting. It really helps your parterre if you plan on having a freestyle career. It's a huge, huge value for that stuff. But, I did it a lot, when I was first working into it. And now that I'm, more freestyle oriented, I don't do it a ton. I still wrestle Greco, at the RTC here when we were having it, maybe once a week, working on my parterre and some hand fight and stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Julian Ramirez, one of your teammates, said, "Why are you so good looking?" Matt, Matt, you said, "How does he mentally prepare for the wrestling the best in the world?" That's a question I have for him at the end. That was a big question I have for him. So you want to talk about that, or I want to really get into that later on, unless you want to talk about it now.
Yeah, whenever you want.
All right, yeah, Matt, we're definitely getting back to that question. That was number one on my list. Long Beach, I keep telling you about. I don't know if you see any good ones you want to answer. How do you feel about being the backup this year? That's funny.
Oh, because we have a joke that I'm a starter out of politics,
Oh, okay. I got some people. They got pics of you. Yianni was Jordan Burroughs. I don't think that'll ever happen.
Yeah, my butt.
Be long bad. Okay. I don't know if you see any good on your end.
This
is
one.
probably gonna redshirt.
Yeah, so he's gonna take that gap year. He's pretty small. He needs to get a lot bigger. He's I think skill wise, he's there, but he needs to mature a little bit, so he needs that year. I think he's gonna be really good. The coaches have really high hopes for him, so I'm pretty excited about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You and your brother. That'd be great. Did you spend a lot of time rolling with Jordan Oliver when he was coach?
Yeah, he actually helped me so much. I got so much better wrestling with Jordan, and he knows it, and there's no bad blood with us, so he doesn't mind me saying that he helped me a ton. I remember I used to wrestle with him, and he would teach me how to defend lefty single leg because that was his shot. And he would he would be like, "Hey, if I teach you how to do this and you start doing it, it's gonna make my single leg better." And I never thought about it like that. And ever since then, I always think about that. I'm like, man, if I start teaching guys how to beat my stuff, I'll have to learn how to get really good at it.
Exactly. Yeah, well, it's a good thing, though. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
This is a good question. I mean, it's a funny question. He goes, Yianni, how come you do that thing before every match when you bend over and shake out your arms? I see it every match. Is that like an international? I see a lot of international people do that.
I probably started it when I was a little fanboy of international wrestling, so I thought it was
cool.
It. And now it's became just I just do it without even thinking. Even if we're doing matches in practice, it's like my on button. You know what I mean? I feel like everyone's got a little thing, Dayton Fix does that little forward roll and jump thing when he runs out to the mat. I feel like some guys just have an on button, and that's definitely it's my on button for me.
I definitely knew it was European style, 100%.
Yeah.
I got a kid from my club, Dominic. He said, "How did it feel to have Kyle Dake in your corner for the national championships?"
This is funny. So people are always like, dude, what's Kyle Dake like? Do you know him? Are you guys he's at this point, I've been around for so long, you almost forget how amazing he is. He's a really good wrestler. He's a good guy. He's a really, really good wrestling mind. So he helps me a lot. He's a great coach, and he's gonna be at Cornell for a while. He's gonna do a really good job, for as long as he's coaching. So, he helps a lot. He's a great partner too. He still kicks my head in, so it's good to have him around.
Favorite takedown?
Favorite takedown? Single leg.
Single leg. All right, that was easy.
Sure. For sure.
Guys, a lot of people asking about his flexibility. That's another question I'm going to ask later. He answered the favorite takedown. What was your first year wrestling record? I don't know if you remember that. When you first started, I guess? I don't know.
We never counted my record in youth wrestling. We never kept the trophies. We used to go to tournaments and skip out on the trophies.
There you go.
We would just come and wrestle. We didn't really care about the accolades. It was more just you wrestle, good guys, get better, leave. You know what I mean? If there was a podium picture or whatever, we didn't want to be disrespectful, so we would stay. But, those local tournaments, they just hand out awards. We would just leave. So we actually don't have a ton of awards sitting around my house.
I kind of like that. I got a kid from my club. I got to say, because he asked. He said, my buddy, my kid Loudon, would you ever do a clinic at my club? Go to train.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome, man. Loudon, he said yes. He said
For
yes.
sure. I'll come if that kid lets me drill on him.
Oh, yeah, he will. He will. He's a big fan. What you been on, John Coletti? We got Mark Angle. Mark Angle is on here. Do you know much about Mark Angle?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah, Mark Angle was I came in I wrestled at Clarion University, and he was graduating when I came in. He asked the question, does your ridiculous scrambling ability come naturally, or did it concentrate on a part of your training? That, again, Mark, I really want to talk about that later.
These guys are on the same wavelength as you right now.
Yeah, dude, 100%, man. I mean, these are the questions I definitely wanted to ask. Joey's a standstill motions
I
coming
think
in handy.
Yianni can. These guys are funny sometimes.
Yeah, they. Favorite Russian wrestler.
I am a huge Kudakov fan. This guy, Bessie Kudakov, he wrestled. He wrestled in the he wrestled from 2000, 6, 7. He died after the 2012 Olympic Games, I think in 2013. Kind of you know, he died in a car accident, but you hear stuff from people sometimes. He was a great wrestler. He was a really, really good guy. He's really well loved among the wrestling community. And I looked up to him a lot. I wanted to, he was really good. He was someone who I was a fan of. I loved Satiev. When he was awesome. He was really good, and Mavlev Petirov. So my style is a little bit modeled after those guys, except I'm working on the incredible speed part that they had. So, so trying to figure that out still.
I want to see how good you are, how much you know Russian wrestling. I'm a little older than you. I'm 37. I went to Russia twice to train. Back in my day, there was a guy. If you know this guy, you're pretty good. He's from Russia. Sergey Small. Do you know who that is?
You want to hear? Vogar Rusev. He does dad.
Yes.
Like, best friends with Sergey Small. He was telling me this story. Disclaimer: this is not condoning you to smoke cigs. Sergey Small would smoke a pack of cigarettes every day, and then he would run. I think it was 10 miles every day, every single day. And Vogar, when Vogar was a kid, not a kid, but younger, he'd ask him, Sergey, like, why don't you just quit smoking instead of running 10 miles every day? And he would tell him, I like to smoke, so I smoke and then I run, so I'm not out of shape.
That's insane. That's insane.
That's just classic, like, stereotypical 1980s Soviet guy. I hear, yeah, he was actually a good friend of Vogar's growing up. That's a small world.
That's pretty good, because I went to Russia in 1994, and Sergey was still competing, like competitively at that time.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, and I was too young to wrestle him. I was only like 11, 12 years old, but he was wrestling. I went there with Steve Mocco. He went out there with us. We all went out together. But Mocco, I think, tried to grab him. Mocco was like, he was big then too. He was only like 12 years old, and Mocco was like, everybody was saying that's Sergey Small, and Mocco, he don't give a shit. He's like,
whatever.
I'll wrestle him. Come on, come here. And he wrestled him. He got beat up, but
12-year-old Mocco wrestling a world medalist.
Yeah. And then the guy, I think his name's Alexander Medved. Is that who?
Yeah, Medved.
Medved, yeah. So that was we met him, and we went to a tournament, the Medved Invitational or something like that. We went to when we were younger, but yeah, we've been to Russia, man. I mean, Russia, I know you've probably been there tons of times, and that obviously that you got a lot of your style, from European style wrestling, right?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, we watched a ton of Russian film. We definitely watched way more Russian film than we did Americans. I think it was because they're very athletic, especially now we're really good as a country. We're amazing, and if you look at our guys are freakishly athletic. But historically, the Russians have always been great athletes, really high diversity, really high skill level. So that was kind of how I wanted to model my style. You know what I mean? It was in my opinion, it was the most artistic form of wrestling, and that was kind of something that was really important to my dad and I, was having that really wide variety of skill.
Yeah, I mean, me being there so many years ago. I mean, that being there in Russia. I mean, them wrestling is a way out of like real life for them. I mean,
that saves them.
That's all they do, man. I mean, they wake up, they do. As a kid, because it's their way out of to try to make some money for them, and just their work ethic and just the things that they do. It's kind of like in quarantine where we're just making up exercises. I mean, we were in Russia and there was like goalposts. Like there's Russians just doing freaking, pull-ups.
Just making stuff up.
Yeah, right. Like they just do any type of training they can, which was something we picked up on.
Yeah, I remember. So my senior high school, Vito Aruja and I went to Ossetia, which is they're one of the really, really predominant wrestling regions in Russia. That's where Soslan Romanov's from, Kudakov, Sidakov. They're all from Ossetia. And we were there, and it was the best wrestling club in Ossetia. We're in Vladikavkaz, and they had David Bayev, who was a world champ. All these really high level guys there. They had They had 2 squat racks, 2 sets of pull-up bars, and 2 ropes, like for rope climbs, and that was it.
And that's
And
all they do.
they were so excited that they got this new sauna when we were there. They showed us this new sauna. It was small, it was nice, but it was, it's really modest for them the way they live, and
100%.
it's just a different lifestyle over there.
And it kind of makes you, when you go there and you come back, you kind of just appreciate what you have here.
Yeah, it's
And
very
like everything that you have, like the facilities and everything like that. And you kind of say to yourself, if they could do that there and I have what I have here.
yeah.
Why,
We used to always say that we're like, America should be the best country in the world, and we are really good now because of what we have. And don't get me wrong, they make it work and they have really good facilities. It's just, when they're young, when they aren't, when they haven't made it, it's hard for them. You know what I mean?
100%. All right. So, okay, we'll go back to a little bit to talk a little bit more wrestling. So, you're now a 2-time NCAA champion. You're gonna go into your junior year. This is an Olympic year, and you took your Olympic redshirt year to try to obviously qualify. Actually, before we get into that, I mean, we could talk briefly about it because I could talk all day about that. I mean, you went to Final X. You wrestled Zane Rutherford. You wrestled, a best of 3 match. A lot of people here know about it already. You lost your first match, second match. They thought you won 8-6. Well, you said, you won 8-6, and then the match got changed to 6-6. You won a criteria. You ended up winning that series. You guys protested the match. You and your team protested the match. You got another match back in September at Wilkes, and you lost that match. I mean, briefly, if you want to just talk about how that went. I mean,
the whole process. I mean, it was I was a little bit in the dark. I remember, I lost that match and I just had to go away. I came back and I showered and Coach Cole was just like, "Hey, we're gonna protest that. They can't do that. They broke the rules. Blah blah blah." And like honestly, I didn't even know what he meant really. I was like, whatever, like it's not gonna happen. And then, time had gone by, and slowly but surely, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a thing that's happening. And before I knew it, we had that hearing, talking about the match. They had Zane, his coach, me and my coach, some lawyers, and just talking about the whole process. It was I'm lucky to have someone like Coach Cole who is great at being a manager. He took care of it. I didn't get bogged down with all that stuff. I got to meet people and talk to people, but it wasn't consuming. It wasn't something I had to deal with every day. So I'm thankful for Coach Cole for that. And
well,
it worked out my way, but it didn't. So it kind of felt like the whole process.
I have a question on that, and let's talk about a lot. Okay, you talked about that you set the bar up high, really high for yourself. You have a lot of expectations for yourself. You talked about when you were a youth wrestler, you didn't care about wins and losses. You wouldn't even stay for the award sometimes. You cared about just progressing stuff like that. The type of mentality that you have, that you kind of seem like you get what you deserve. When coaches and them thought about protesting the match, was that seriously something that you wanted? Did you want that to happen, or you were just like, if it happens, it happens?
So there's 2 sides of it. Obviously, you're like, man, if I could get that match back, I'd love to get it back as a competitor, But at the same time, if it hadn't been brought up, I don't think I would have asked for it. But it wasn't even on my radar, honestly. Like, they were talking about rules and throwing the challenge brick. And to be honest, before all of that, I didn't know a lot about it. So I wouldn't have even known. I would have just thought I got a call that didn't go my way, and the challenge went too long, and that just would have been the end of it. And I'm not saying in any way that my coaches were wrong for protesting. In hindsight, I don't blame them. They're just doing their best to put their guy on the team.
Of course. No, I understand that completely.
And people say like, oh, well, why don't you protest every match? And it's not like I'm protesting a bad call. So pretty much the process was you only can throw the brick within 5 seconds. And I think that there's a little bit of liberty, so call it 10 seconds of a call being made. And that brick was thrown. It was like 48 seconds or whatever after the call was made. And that was why Coach Cole was protesting. And, once it was going through, I was just kind of going with it. You know what I mean? I wasn't, again, I'm thankful that Coach Cole was able to, kind of take it in his own hands, not get me super bogged down by all of it. And, it didn't go my way, but, I'm glad to know that my coaches have will go to great lengths for me. I know
Of course.
Coach Cole took a lot of heat for that. Or maybe some criticism for filing the whole process, but if he's willing to do that for me, I'm appreciative of that.
Well, that's what a coach does.
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's what a parent does. That's what a coach does. That's what a mentor does, and I appreciate him doing that. The only thing I just didn't like was the fact that there was too much time in between.
Yeah, it took a really long time.
Yeah,
It took a really long time. I remember on my end, the date got changed like 4 times. It was supposed to be originally, it was like I might be messing this up a little bit, but it was like the max was Saturday, and we were gonna file and Coach Cole was like, we're filing it Monday, and then it got pushed back to next Monday, and then they're like, all right, the hearing's gonna be this day. Then that got pushed back. Then it was like, all right, this is gonna go to arbitration, and it's gonna be in 3 weeks. Then 3 weeks rolled around, that got pushed back. So, I don't know. There was a lot of delay. Obviously we wanted it earlier. We had the hearing. I think it was the first week in March or in August, and we were like, we're ready to have the match tomorrow. So, we were trying to get it going as early as possible, as soon as possible. And I think that, other people delayed it. Things happen. The process can take a while, but, we, at least on our end, we were trying to get that done as soon as possible. Again, it's like you don't want question. Even if I wasn't going to be the guy, you want to just know. Getting stuck in limbo like that can be frustrating.
No, I hear you. I mean, we could talk all day about you, Zane going into the World Championships. Kind of wish it would have been you. And so your 2019, 2020 year, you decide to take your Olympic redshirt year, and so your teammates, all your teammates that you've been there with for the past 2 years, you've been training with them. They're like your brothers. You've been with them every single day. They go through a whole grueling D1 year, and I know you're probably there working out with them. With them, Chaz Tucker and a bunch of other guys on your team, and then this whole coronavirus comes in and kind of just stops the world and stops everything, and your buddies and your teammates, they don't get a chance to and let me just back up real quick. Let's talk about Cornell, and not only do you go to a grueling, Division One practice and season, but you got to go to an Ivy League, academic studies that you're going through, and they're able to balance both of those out, and just to do that alone is hard enough. And then the end of the season comes around, and the coronavirus shuts down the NCAA championships. I know you're probably a huge even though you're younger in a team, but you're probably a huge mentor in that team. What did you, Coach Cole, Coach Gray, and all you guys, how did you feel? What did you say to your teammates? How did that all go?
Yeah, I mean, as it got closer, we kind of knew it was going to happen. It's one of those things where, the last week of February, you were like, there's no way they're going to cancel it. And then 1 week from there, you're like, oh, maybe no fans. Another week goes by, and you're like, they're definitely going to cancel it. And, it was like you could kind of see it happening, unfolding right in front of you. And, our guys, some were all right. Some took it harder than others. I felt really bad for the seniors. And obviously, it's everyone. It's not just our guys. It's tough that they, they got the whole season, but it's unfortunate that they lost, kind of the event that defines the whole season. And, you can't help but feel bad for them. And, there's nothing you can do about it. There's just a lot of what ifs and, what could have beens that happened. And, you feel bad for them, but.
And in a way, I don't want to sound like any like rude or anything like that, but you kind of dodged the bullet in I lucked out in the Olympic year, because everybody, me personally, and everybody in the country thinks that you will be a 4-time national champ, and if you did wrestle this year for whatever reason this happened to you, this could have caused you from losing your 3rd title. So did those thoughts ever go in your mind? I
think it was one of those things that I never was like, oh man, good thing I redshirted, but I did luck out, that wasn't my first thought, you just feel bad for these guys. And, even, with the Olympics being postponed, you feel for some of those older guys, a guy like Frank Molinaro, who kind of got driven into retirement because of all this going on. So
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, yeah. Do you?
I
Do
mean,
you
there's a lot of people who got it a lot worse than I did. I lucked out. In the end, I dodged a bullet big time.
100%. Do you get that Olympic red shirt back? I don't know if that even makes any sense.
I mean, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I could take another redshirt year. As of now, I don't plan on it. I'm gonna wrestle with the team and try and I think we're gonna have a really really good team, so try and make that work. But we'll see what happens. I mean, week by week, things are drastically changing, so you never know what'll happen.
Awesome. I mean, so this year you're in your freestyle season. You took gold at the Yazardog, right? I think I said it right.
Yep.
You took gold at Zolakowski.
Yep.
I guess that's in Poland. With the ski at the end. And then you won gold at the Pan Ams. So you had a successful, very successful freestyle season this year, which is obviously gonna, lead you into your junior, your redshirt junior year, right? Or
yep, redshirt junior.
Redshirt junior year. Your team next year, on paper, is stacked. Okay, you have a great team, probably one of the top teams in the country, and you have 3 Jersey boys, 2 actually, yeah, 2 or 3, 4, 2 that are good. I mean, Jacob Cardenas is one of my guys that I train. He's on your. He will be on your team next year. Chris Foca, Julian Ramirez, and Luis Fernandez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you talk much with them guys, or?
Yeah, I'm super close to them. I've known Julian since I was 15 or 16. We met at the Olympic Training Center, and the other guys I've gotten to know them kind of throughout the year. On their recruiting trips, I got to meet them, and they're really great guys. They care a lot. I mean, you can tell that they're really invested in wrestling, and they all want to be really good, and they all have really really high ceilings. So those are 4 really good guys, and we got a ton of other good guys coming in. So. Between the guys who we had coming out of redshirt, the guys who we had on the team already, and some of the freshmen coming in, I think we're gonna be a really dangerous team next year.
Yeah, I honestly think that you guys are gonna fight for a trophy. To be honest with you, and I think that you're gonna have a good NCAA tournament. I think I would hope. I would wish maybe Chaz Tucker would have a chance back, but
yeah, I don't think he's going to. Again, talking about all that stuff, but we're gonna have a really good team. I think top to bottom, we're going to be pretty solid, and, we're going to have our heavy hitters. And, I think, I mean, I'm not going to call our shot here, but we're going to be in contention. I think, we're going to be good next year.
Is that a goal? I mean, obviously your individual goal is to be a 4-time national champ, but is that a goal of yours to get your team to win a title or top 3?
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of, I feel like it's paying back to the coaches, paying back even just to the guys. We have so many guys on the team who, are working just as hard as we are, doing all the right things and, don't get a shine of accolades out of it. I mean, I feel like a team title is as much for those guys as it is, for, the guys who you guys see all over Flow. I mean, there's tons of guys who you don't hear about, whose names never, pop up on Flow Wrestling that, do as much for a team as, a guy like me or Max Dean or Vito.
Yeah, you got Max Dean, a bunch of guys. You got a great team coming back. I know we're running short on time. I mean, if you want, we could go a little extra. I mean, they got some questions to ask you.
Yeah.
Kind of up to you. I want to get into it right now. I talked to you at a, I don't know if you remember. We talked at a gala one time. I don't know if it was last year, 2 years ago. We talked at the gala after the Beat the Streets event, and
yep,
I was talking.
I remember that.
You remember that? Mike Gray, like I told you, Mike Gray is someone, he's younger than me. He's been in the same club program with me, all to youth wrestling. He ended up being the first 4-time New Jersey state champion ever. And then a couple more guys went after him. He seems to be the one that you are kind of super, super close to. I know you're super close to all your coaches, but it seems that you guys have like your own little
yeah, I mean, he's definitely, my guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like when you get to college wrestling, you kind of have one guy who you spend most of your time working with, and Mike's definitely, that guy for me. When I was in high school, I used to come up to the RTC and, work with Mike a lot. You know what I mean? And we kind of had a bit of a relationship coming in just because I had wrestled with him, at the RTC a lot, and he was real with me, and he pushed me, he challenged me, he held me to that same high standard that I was used to. So, it worked well for me. I mean, he's a great coach, and that's nothing towards the other guys. I've had a ton of great coaches at Cornell help me, but Mike just kind of inherently has been the guy who I work with the most, and he's done a lot for me. His family's done a lot for me, so I'm thankful for that.
There's been a lot of times where you, after a big match or a grueling 3-period match, that when the match ends, you point to your head and you kind of point at Mike. What is if you don't have to tell us, even if it's something between you guys?
No, yeah. So we always talk about every day there's a mental task. You know what I mean? So we'll go through practice and I'll have extra conditioning, or we'll go through a lift and I'll have some burnout at the end, or we'll go through a run and I have to do this time, or pass this guy, or sprint this hard at the end. You know what I mean? And we always talk about there's a mental task, and you have to get the work done. That's just the standard that everyone does, and you have to do the mental task. And we always talk about that's your way of investing in yourself. That's the way you can quantify toughness. You know what I mean? Is if you're giving yourself these extra challenges every day and you're constantly meeting them. And if you're meeting them every day, they gotta get harder, because I've had days where I've failed, and by holding myself, to that high mental task, that the head point thing is kind of, you have matches where it comes down to, a little bit of grit or a little bit of extra, a little toughness, a little conditioning. And that's why we do that every day.
That's all. I mean, I watch that and I see that, and I kind of knew that as kind of what you guys, kind of have together. In your mind, what percentage of mental is physical to you? If you have 90-10, I mean, 80-20, the mental part.
I mean, especially in competition, the mental aspect plays a lot. You need the skill, you need that high level, athleticism and skill and mental and, body coordination. But when you have two guys who are evenly matched, or even, close to evenly matched, it's all psychological. You know what I mean? It's who's a little tougher, a little stingier. I remember Bill Zadick, he's the head coach of the U.S. national team. He used to tell me about Jordan Burroughs, and he said Jordan Burroughs was not always the best wrestler in the world, but he was always, the tough guy. And, his first world titles, I'm putting words in his mouth. Jordan was always amazing. He was always so good. But he took pride in being tough, you know what I mean? And that was something that resonated a lot with me, because, it's a wrestling contest, but there's a lot of grit that comes with it. You know what I mean? So there's a certain amount of inherent, grit and determination and kind of tenacity that you need to have. And if you don't, I'm not saying that you can't achieve, because there's tons of guys who've achieved really great things in the sport without, being super tough, but it's a necessity, when you get to a certain level to achieve as much as you want to.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We have it says I have about 1:47 left. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to jump right back on. If you want to just come right back on again.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay. And then just got a couple more questions. I think some of your fans may have a couple more questions.
Perfect.
So guys, we're going to get off right now. We got about 107 people on right now. We're going to jump right back on again. All right, guys? So just come right back in. All right? We'll be right back.
Bye.
All right, guys. I'm sorry about